Good morning. Welcome to Heinz Feet on High Places. Out snowshoeing this Christmas Eve morning and thinking about the last year, and I figured I would share some of the highlights of the last year with you. It's been a really good year for me hiking wise, and I just wanted to share some of the top points. Some of the things that I did this year that were really memorable was I hiked for the first time since 2019 with my grandson Kieran. He kind of got me started on hiking again when he asked me to teach him how after watching a video about Dan and Janelle, Buffalo and Tough Cookie, and their quest to do the 52 with the view in a year. And when he saw that, he said, I'd like to do that. Now, we never finished the list, but it got us started again. Another big thing, and you can check this out on my wife's YouTube channel, we did the Cross New Hampshire Adventure Trail. He and I on our bicycles, and my wife on her mobility scooter. It took us about 7 days, and it's 82 miles, so that was quite the accomplishment. We also completed the New Hampshire Rocks That Rock list. Kieran and I did that mostly in one day. We had a few that we had already gotten, but we kind of pushed through to finish out, which was kind of cool. I have finished my full moon hike list. I have not submitted for the patch yet because my wife is one shy, so I'm going to submit for both of those. That's been a cool list where we've been going out and just going on little hikes when there's a full moon out, and that was a lot of fun, though lately they've been shorter because of how cold it is. And the other patch that I completed was my Summit Beer Society. The goal there is just to take selfies on top of the mountain enjoying a beverage. It doesn't have to be an adult beverage, it can be. It can also be a soda or whatever, just something to enjoy on the mountaintop. Over the course of the year, between biking with my wife for her channel and hiking by myself with friends, with Kieran, All Trails logs that I did 574 miles, which is more than I had thought. A total of 70,000 feet of elevation gained, and I burned a total of 105 calories. I don't know how accurate any of those stats are. Those are straight from All Trails, and we all know that All Trails doesn't have the greatest reputation, but they're kind of neat to share. The big thing that I wanted to share with you guys were my top 5. These are the top 5 hikes or series of hikes that just really something special about them that made them really work well for me, that I really enjoyed. Number 5 on the list was the Florida Trail. Now this was over 2 weekends, and I didn't do the whole trail obviously, but I did the section right around Eglin Air Force Base. And what was really cool about that was that it was my longest miles. I did 25.6 miles over 2 days, and then I did 17.8 miles in a single day. Now, those of you who are thru hikers or who follow thru hikers knows those aren't really big miles, but they are for me. I will say that the Florida Trail is much easier to make big miles on because it's so very, very flat. Doing 17.8 miles up in the Whites is a much bigger accomplishment. The number 4 on my top 5 list is the Morgan and Percival hike. This was cool because it was the first hike that I did with my grandson this summer, and it was 2 on the 52 with a view list and 2 on the Terrifying 25 list. And you know how I love checking my boxes. So But the biggest thing about that, and it was a fun hike in and of itself, but to me the biggest thing was just getting to hike with my grandson again for the first time in 3 years. That was awesome. Number 3 on the list was the Kilkenny Ridge Trail. Now this was the first backpacking trip that I did with Kieran. We started by going up Star King and over to Wambach. We drove down and went to the Berlin Fish Hatchery, and then from there we went up and got Rogers Ledge, spent the night there, hiked to Unknown Pond. We were going to try and tag the Horn, but Kieran just didn't have it in him, so we went ahead and went down and called it a weekend. But it was his first real backcountry overnight where we were back in the backcountry, and it was just so cool to get to share that with him. So that one was definitely a highlight and easily made number 3. Number 2 was the Webster Jackson hike. So we went up Webster Cliffs to Mount Webster, and then we went to Mount Jackson, and then we went to the Nauman tent site and spent the night there. And then the next morning we just hiked down to Crawford Notch, got in the car. We were gonna go up Willard and Avalon, but he twisted his ankle on the way down, so we didn't. But the greatest accomplishment in my mind, besides that wonderful trail, that if you ever get a chance to do the Webster Cliffs Trail, I strongly recommend it, was the fact that Kieran got to feed the Gray Jays for the first time ever. And that was so neat. We call it joining the Disney Princess Club because you're feeding a wild bird out of your hand. And it was so cool and so much fun. So that definitely was number 2. So what's number 1? Number 1 on my list was the Wildcat Maria Traverse. This was over September 11th weekend, and I started with my friend Xavier. We went up and over the Wildcats. He had to split down in the Notch, so he took the 19-mile Brook Trail back, whereas I went up the Carter Dome Trail and went up over the Carters, went up over Maria, spent the night actually on the Carters, and then the next day went over Maria and then spent the night down in the Rattle River shelter with a bunch of thru hikers. There were some real highlights on that. Number 1, I got to meet Littlefoot. For those who don't know, Littlefoot is the youngest person ever to complete the New Hampshire 48. That was super neat. She was there for the flags over the 48. I missed the flag raising, but my understanding is she's the one who raised the flag. And that was cool just to get to hang out with some veterans and, you know, kind of share some of our stories. I got to camp with thru hikers, which was fun, share some trail magic with them, give them rides into town afterwards, which they were very appreciative of. I tagged 6 New Hampshire 48 peaks and 1 terrifying 25 peak on that one. It was 3 days, it was 2 nights, it was kind of one of my biggest adventures so far, and it was definitely top notch. Some excellent views, just a wonderful experience. So that's enough looking back. Let's look forward a little bit. What am I going to do in the upcoming year? Obviously, none of us really knows what we're going to get done, but here's what I'm going to try and accomplish. Number 1, I want to finish the New Hampshire 48s. I've got 3 hikes left, but 2 of them are biggies. If I can do a Presidential Traverse and a Pemi Loop, I will finish the New Hampshire 48. So that is my big goal. I want to either finish or complete end-to-end the Monadnock Sunapee Greenway. I've got some friends that have expressed an interest in doing that with me, so hopefully we will be able to get that done this summer. We might even do some of it over the winter. We'll see. And last, my mileage goal, I'm shooting for 750. Now, that's going to be a combination of hiked as well as biked miles, so that might not be too hard of a stretch to make. I just got to spend more time biking. But I want to spend more time out in the whites, and some of these longer hikes will help me get those numbers. So it'll be interesting to see what I'm able to do over the course of the next year. I hope you have enjoyed this and just getting a peek into what I've done and what I'm gonna do, and I hope you continue to follow along and enjoy the hikes with me, and really just enjoying the beauty of God's world. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. As always, y'all have a blessed day. Azimuth out.